Welcome to episode 3 of Foulborn Uniques. In this episode we talk about unique amulets and potential good outcomes with Foulborn transformations, where one or more of the modifiers can be changed to a Foulborn version and potentially have an amazing new amulet that's build enabling or buffing your build by a lot. We do this one alphabetical. First one is Blightwall. It has 50% slower start of energy shield recharge during any flask effect. It's corrupted, but if you look at the item acquisition, it has no restriction and it can drop anywhere. So it's potential that we can get this talisman as a Blightforged unique. The Bloodsuck Medallion can drop anywhere and it has every 10 seconds. These mods gain 2% of life per enemy hit with attacks for 5 seconds, gain 5% of life per enemy killed for 5 seconds. I'm not sure how this one will behave with the Foulborn. I just want to list it because it has an interesting modifier. I could think that if one of them gets overwritten, that both of them get overwritten or just one of them. And if this one is removed, then for 5 seconds we gain this mod. And for the remaining 5 seconds we gain another mod that is overwritten with a Foulborn mod. Or it has no second mod and therefore for the full 10 seconds it's like 5 seconds, the 2% of life per enemy hit with attacks. And then the other 5 seconds is the same mod again. Choir of the Storm is from Ash. We have the Foul-forged versions, so maybe we can remove the minus lightning res with some other Foulborn stuff. The Resto Salute has 50% reduced maximum energy shield, but it improves your strike range and increased melee damage on full life. And if you're CI, for example, you're always on full life, but you need energy shield usually, and this would be bad if you have the 50% reduced, so that was a nice option. Then for Extractor Mentus, can drop anywhere. It has the mod 5% chance to grant onslaught to nearby enemies on kill, and the same with Chaotic Might. And if you can remove these two, the 5% ones, this would be a buff, but it's not that good, I think, anyway. Just onslaught and Chaotic Might, which is 30-ish% damage, physical as extra chaos damage. Then we have Eye of Geula with 20% reduced maximum life, which could be removed. Then Eye of Innocence, take 100% fire damage when you ignite an enemy. This isn't really a downside because it enables a few builds. If you look here, we could remove it with the Foulborn potentially, but it's not really a bad unique. It fulfills its purpose with igniting enemies and then self-damaging you, and then using it to trigger some other interactions. For Gloomfang, we have a minor downside like lose 15 to 10 life per enemy hit with spells and 25 to 20 life per enemy hit with attacks. But it's not really that bad of a downside, I think. In Icarus side, as the mod cannot be blinded, which is beneficial, but in the past there were a few builds, I think especially in Frisia, or something with a helmet, I forgot what it was, but you actually wanted to be blind, and maybe the accuracy helps you, stacking accuracy on a Juggernaut, and be blinded for more multiplier or something, but I forgot what it worked. I just want to give it a shout out, there's potential there. For Marlene's Fallacy, it has 40% less critical strike chance and a huge critical strike multiplier. So if you can remove the less critical strike chance, would be a great unique for damage. So you reach your crit cap quicker. The Nighthold, it can drop anywhere and it's corrupted. And one of the potential downsides is Socketed Gems of Support by level 10 cast when stunned. And maybe you don't want to get stunned, but you want to add a chaos and the blind potentially. And then you can socket another gem in there and use it without getting stunned. Or Perkle's Toe, it has lightning damage of enemies hitting you is lucky, which is a downside. Then the lightning damage of the enemy rolls twice and you get hit by the higher damage. And it's a very common unique, so maybe there's something interesting there. And then you get the nearby allies damage with hits lucky. Rash Kaldor's Patience has the modifier 20% reduced duration of elemental ailments on enemies, and items and gems have 10% increased attribute requirement. If you can remove one or two of these, then you can benefit from always freeze, shock, and ignite. Then for Retaliation Charm, this one is the downside. In theory, blind you inflict is reflected to you, and if you remove that with the Foulborn, it could be beneficial, but as I said before, some builds actually want to be blinded, but I forgot in which cases this was the case. Scythe Breath Power Amulet is one of the most common uniques, and especially Power Amulet, and it has the downsides. Minion deal no non-cold damage, And if you remove this line, you could have a really nice amulet, not just for early, but maybe even late game. And another potential downside is the minions convert 50% of physical damage to cold damage. Maybe you want it to be converted to chaos damage or something. So if you move this one to something else, then you have pure physical, for example, and then you convert it to chaos damage or add poison damage to it. And if this one is removed and this one, so if this one is double Foulborn and you remove this and the conversion to cold, could be an insane amulet, and it should be very common if you know what you're looking for, which you do in this case now because you watched my video. Like and follow. Then the anvil has these mods: reduced attack and cast speed, but most builds are usually affected by only one of them, or one of them is relevant. So if you have the correct version where either one of them is removed, would be nice. The Ilar Dex has 40% reduced critical strike chance per power charge, and if that one is moved, it should be a really nice amulet for mana regeneration and damage conversion and maximum power charges. Then the Ephemeral Bond has 90% less power charge duration, which makes it a bit more annoying, from 15 seconds down 90%. But if you have a lot of power charges, you gain a lot of flat lightning damage, and you can keep it and multiply if you gain charges frequently. Then the Jinx Choo-Choo is like the only amulet that has increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills, and 10% of damage from hits is taken from your raised specters live before you. Usually if you have specters, they should be able to tank the damage, but most builds that use the aura stacking don't even have a specter, and maybe if you can override this one with an even more beneficial mod, the 10% damage conversion or transfer, with maybe another aura skill, then this one should be a really nice amulet for supports or aura stackers maybe even. The Pandemonius is one of the Breach uniques. It has a restriction where it can drop, but there's a special tree where the Breach uniques can be Foulborn. Then for the Primordial Chain, it can drop anywhere, and it has a few downsides. You cannot have non-golem minions, so you have no specters or whatever. And if this line is removed, and especially during the last patch and this patch, where the elementals got buffed insanely hard, and in 3.27 it actually got nerfed, but it's still very strong. And if you can have additional golems and remove the non-golem part, so you can use specters, it would be an insane amulet. Also, if you could remove the deal less damage, it would be also insanely good. The rest one is okay. If it have less life, whatever. But the less damage mod is really big, and that you can not have any non-golems. And if you're superficial, you also want them to be bigger, but that's like not numerical important. So again, they cannot have non-golem minions if that is removed, and the golems deal less damage. If these two mods are removed, it would be an insane amulet. I could imagine like maybe 50 diffs or more, depending on how rare it is. Then Angel's Harmony. It has your critical strikes do not deal extra damage. If you remove that, currently it's only used with like poisoning, like Perfect Agony. Then you gain additional damage depending on your crit multiplier. So if you remove this, and you can still deal crits, you have an insane amount of crit chance and multiplier ideally. Onitol's Vow should also get a Foulborn version, but I'm not sure. It has minus res and max res rolls, and this one can't be removed because it's the important part, as it would break the item. So I'm not sure what I'm thinking about that. If that's a Foulborn version, you can remove one of the reses, like Fire, Code, Lightning, and then let's see. Then Vol's Devotion. It has reduced endurance charge duration and reduced power charge duration. That's not really that much of a downside, because the builds that use the Vol's Devotion also use like the Ramirez Banquet, or did in the past, and they generate so many charges, it doesn't matter that they have the reduced duration, because they gain like 5 charges per second or something like that. For the Warp Timepiece, it has 20 to 10% reduced skill factoration and debuffs on you expire 10% faster. And usually you want a lot of skill effect duration. So you want increased duration, not reduced duration. And buffs on you expire 100 faster is also nice. For example, if you have the boots that got buffed recently, that give you Glorious Madness or something like that, they expire in half the time, which would be a huge buff. For the coming league, this one could be a key piece. Then Willow Gift. It has 10% reduced strength, which isn't that important for most builds, but maybe it could enable some builds if you remove this reduced strength and gain dex stacking, or a decent amount. Maybe you can even roll another dex mod. It could have like 20% increased dex. Or if you have attribute requirements, it goes like to 18. This will go to minus 12, but if you remove it, maybe interesting. Then the minus fire is also a debuff, and you do not inherently take less damage for having fortification. This is a debuff, and if you remove it, maybe it's really interesting. This one is a potential remove, this is a potential remove, and this is also a potential remove. Willow Gift could be really interesting. Then for Winterheart, Cannot be chilled. Maybe that's something you want to remove and use with like Winter Reef from the first season 1, episode 1 with the rings. But it's not that important, because if you use it, you usually want to cannot be chilled. And frozen is a huge region too. Exhaust's Blood, this is another amulet that has potential for the Foulborn variation, but it doesn't have really any downsides on this amulet yet. Exhaust's Blood is the last one that has interesting potential or is noteworthy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, like and subscribe. Bye!